Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
All in one.
Welcome back to my attempt to remake the Dragon Ball timeline to fit as much non-canon characters and plots into the main timeline as possible in a way that would still make sense. This is my fourth episode. In the previous parts, we covered Dragon Ball, the Dragon Ball movies, the Z movies, Dead Zone, World's Strongest Lord Slug, Tree of Might, and Cooler's Revenge. We covered the Saiyan Saga and Namek Saga, and even for fun added parts of the amazing YouTuber Masako X's What If stories of what if Nappa, Raditz, and Turles turned good for plot points in the future. To see what you might have missed, on TikTok they are saved in my public collections, and on YouTube you can find a playlist for the videos. Now our story continues back on Earth, where during the time Goku has been gone, the last episode showed that Vegeta was away training trying to obtain Super Saiyan, leaving the Earth to be defended by Raditz, Nappa, Turles, Gohan, and Piccolo, when Cooler arrived to clean up the family name from his brother's humiliation. After the Z fighter team protects the Namekian refugees until they can wish for their home world to return. While this is going on, Garlic Jr. makes his attempt at a return. However, this time faces much more difficulty with more Guardians protecting the planet. During the fight with Jr. coming close to killing Kami and his Dead Zone boosted minions almost hurting Launch, Raditz and Gohan become Super Saiyan and put an end to the threat. Soon after sending the Namekians back home, the Z fighters sense the arrival of the Cold family. This time around, thanks to this strange purple energy that no one noticed, not just a Mecha Frieza and a King Cold appear out of the ship, but so does a Mecha Cooler, rebuilt by the Cold Force, not the Big Getty star. The group are surprised to see that Goku is not there, and he is not the only Super Saiyan. Gohan and Raditz obtained it fighting Garlic Jr., and after sensing that achievement, Vegeta's jealousy lead him to finally obtaining it as well. The Frieza Force spreads out at the orders of the Cold family to conquer the planet, and the fighters end up dispersing to stop them. The team scatter to fight the Frieza Force, much to Vegeta's frustration that the Cold family hides behind them at first. During this fight, I will introduce a elite force like the Ginyu Force that is in the Frieza Force I'm calling the Cold Squadron. In this squadron is the warrior Legic from GT, Togoma, Shisami, Abo, and Kato from Super. These characters' strength results in pushing Nappa and Turles into Super Saiyan, scaring the Cold family more for how strong the Saiyan race has become. When the time comes and the Z fighters defeat the army, the Cold family are forced to take matters into their own hands. Before the fight can start, a mysterious warrior appears and single-handedly takes out Frieza, Cooler, and Cold, pausing only for a moment when seeing Cooler. Here the normal anime plays out other than Trunks noticing the odd addition of Cooler and questions why Raditz, Nappa, and Turles are there. And surprisingly, this time around, Goku doesn't show up when predicted, before Trunks can leave. The time arrives when Goku would show, but instead a message from King Kai in the other world informed the Z fighters that Goku was going to come home, but his ship was attacked and crashed on a planet Komori. Komori was originally the name of the comet that was going to destroy the quote-unquote new planet Vegeta in the original Broly movie. In my universe, it's a planet in the same spot that's not on the verge of a comet hitting it. After hearing this, the Z fighters prepare ships designed by Capsule Corp after analyzing the science pods and the ship Kami gave them to get to Namek. Vegeta joins them for the sole purpose to brag to Goku that he got Super Saiyan as well and challenge him to a fight. After seeing the strange addition of Cooler in the fight earlier, the fact that Raditz, Nappa, and Turles are around, and Goku wasn't where he should be, Trunks decides to join in the trip and help so he can still warn Goku. They make it to Komori to only get attacked as well. When they land, they are confronted by a strong Yardrat called Soba, the one from Dragon Ball sagas. The Z fighters together are able to overwhelm the Yardrat, being a 1 vs 6 Super Saiyans, Blue Piccolo. The Earthling Z fighters stayed home to protect the Earth at this time. With so many opponents to face, Soba calls in reinforcements of Kinkarn, RB, Ponkarn, Jiku, Kawazu, Budo, Gurei, Scud, and God Garden. These are the monsters and robot from the game Dragon Ball, planned to eradicate the Saiyans. Now the Z fighters have a small army of strange monster experiments and a robot to contend with. Bulma hides in the ship and the group disperse to fight the new threats. This set of fights will be what pushed the Saiyans to Super Saiyan 2. The monsters are not so easily put down, pushing the fighters to their limits. And for fun, I'm going to say have power gimmicks like the forgettable minions of World's Strongest and Bio Broly movies. Vegeta from the get-go sees Soba as the strongest and most likely one to capture Goku and takes him on. Trunks is dealing with the robot God Garden. The rest are dealing with the monsters. Soba makes a comment in his fight with Vegeta that he is here to prevent the release of the Saiyan leading Bulma, who overheard to believe Goku must be inside the strange structure the Yardrat seemed to be guarding. Bulma sneaks into the strange building to find that Goku and two other Saiyans are trapped in pods, that as she examines them, she discovers that they are draining their ki. As she frees Goku, he weakly encourages her to free the other Saiyans as well. While opening their pods, Raditz and Gohan appear having destroyed the monsters they were fighting, and seeing she was no longer in the ship, they went looking for her and help and managed to get them out of the building. By the time they get outside, the only fight still going on was Vegeta's and Trunks. God Garden, seeing them leaving with several Saiyans, makes him panic, thinking they freed the most dangerous one as well. He quickly ends his fight with Trunks by teleporting out of the battle and to his master Dr. Lychee. Dr. Lychee, enraged at the release of his prisoners, fear of losing his last and most important prisoner alongside his own rage at Saiyans in general, has him activate his masterpiece Hachiak. Back on the battlefield, while Nappa is giving the Senzu Bins to Goku, and the other Saiyans, Turles questions Soba as his fight with Vegeta is almost over about who he even is and why they captured Goku and the other Saiyans. Vegeta, at the mention of other Saiyans, finally looks away from his fight to the others to see Goku, some Saiyan he never seen before, and to his surprise, his brother Tarbul. This sets off Vegeta to have seen his brother was one of the captured, and without letting him explain, he blasts Soba. At first, they think he ended him, but he just passes out. Luckily or unluckily, they still get their answers from Dr. Lychee himself, floating out of his lab to explain that he is, in fact, the last surviving member of the Tuffle race, and his hatred for the Saiyans is unending for what they did to his people. He revealed that he captured any Saiyans he could find and used their energy to fuel his ultimate revenge plan. He then releases a black smoke from his orb that was linked to the machine in his lab that coats his old frame, transforming him into Hachiak, who, unknown by the Saiyans, is being fueled not just by the remnants of the three Saiyans they freed ki, but from the one still trapped below. Goku recovers before the other two and joins the fight, showing he unlocked Super Saiyan 2 while on Yardrat, and even with 7 Super Saiyan 2s, they struggle to defeat Hachiak. Piccolo is the first to get knocked out of his power-up and while resting on the sidelines. The mysterious Saiyan wakes and reveals that his name is Shalat, and he was the guardian of the prison that the planet was artificially formed around to hold the strongest and most violent Saiyan to ever exist before Dr. Lychee arrived and captured him. In that moment, Trunks recklessly unleashed a burning attack at Hachiak that missed and hit Lychee's lab, much to Shalat and Soba's dismay, freeing from his cell the infamous Super Saiyan Cumber. Surprising the Saiyans, the new Saiyan's first target was Hachiak, and having been weakened by the Saiyans before, was defeated. Once Hachiak falls, Goku starts to say that their group of Saiyans has grown quite a lot. He is punched into a nearby mountain by Cumber. From here, Shalat explains that Cumber is no ally, and was imprisoned for his berserker bloodlust. It actually took a device that prevented him from using his Ozaru form, while more than 100 Saiyans fell trying to capture him. From here, a fight breaks out that's a mix of the first Brawly movie fight mixed with Cumber's first appearance in Heroes. No fusion takes place or cooler help like in Heroes, but Cumber does turn into a giant Uzaru, and his ki making the fighters go berserk. Eventually, Tarbul, Piccolo, and Shalat hold him off long enough for the others to charge a group attack that manages to, with the help of the battle pushing everyone who haven't unlocked Super Saiyan 2 to obtain it, finally overwhelm Cumber and puts an end to him. The group retreat to their ship. Not nothing that Dr. Lychee survived and crawled his way to an escape pod to obtain his revenge another day. On the return to Earth, the group fully catch up and exchange information that they haven't been able to before. Shalat explains his role as Cumber's guard, unaware of planet Vegeta's destruction. Tabul explains he was captured while traveling the sector, mapping it for the outpost he was exiled to for being weak. Goku explains his time on Yardrat and how he has been training this whole time. Trunks, having seen so many changes in time, gives up on hiding his identity and simply explains, after confirming Bulma already gave birth to him, that he is from the future. He then tells them that in his timeline, in about 3 years, 2 androids made by Dr. Jero of the Red Ribbon Army arrive and lead to the end of the Z fighters and most of humanity. However, so much has changed from his timeline and is not sure it will still happen. He warns Goku of his heart virus and gives them the medication. After they make it back to Earth, Trunks returns to his time with the promise to return. The Z fighters begin their training for the arrival of the androids. Shalat and Tarbul choose to settle on Earth, now knowing planet Vegeta is no more, and it looks like most the surviving Saiyans now call Earth home. Over the oncoming years, Raditz now lives near Goku's house and is married to Launch and has a daughter named Chile, like a chili pepper. A Saiyan-like name and like pepper makes you sneeze. Vegeta is staying at Capsule Corp training in 100 times gravity, and is the same as the anime at this point, other than a little softer, knowing his future son is a Super Saiyan and his brother, who is also staying at Capsule Corp, is alive and well. Tarble trains solo, and with his brother seeing how even low-class Saiyans can get stronger, and Barley manages to gain Super Saiyan 2 in time for the androids. In the meantime, he is hired by Bulma to be Capsule Corp's head of security and occasional lab assistant. Nappa continues to train while working as a professional wrestler for money and gardening in his free time. Turley's not quite married to Tights yet, but is heavily leaning towards falling for her during this time. Turley's, encouraged by Tights, follows his old pirate instincts for treasure and riches, but in a healthier way by becoming an archaeologist, and finds he enjoys learning about a planet that has history beyond just battles, while still having its own full of more meaning than just purging to sell to high bidders. Shallot trains with everyone learning about his fellow Saiyans' lives to end up at Kame House and training with Master Roshi. The time finally arrives and Trunks returns to find the Z fighters helping a city under attack from the androids. However, it's not like in his timeline or even the normal one. Facing off the Z fighters was not just 17 and 18 or the normal canon 19 and Dr. Gero as Android 20. Down below was far more than just 2 androids, but 12 androids. One in the front of the lineup looked up at him as he floated above the city, and Trunks could swear he could see a flash of a purple aura surrounding the one looking at him for a split second. Trunks landed with the others to instantly receive an earful from his dad about there being a lot more than 2. Trunks explains that in his time, pointing out 17 and 18 are the ones that showed up and are ending the human race. Goku explains that he met numbers 9 through 12 the last time he ran into Dr. Gero, though he thought he perished in the Arctic with the 4 of them. The android with slicked back blonde hair and a small mustache in a green striped outfit with a black vest over it introduced himself as Dr. Gero. This shocks the members of the Z fighters that remember him. Yamcha steps forward and comments that he thought he was old. In the blink of an eye, Dr. Gero grabs Yamcha by his face and lifts him in the air. The doctor then begins to explain that after his unfortunate defeat by Goku, preventing him from stealing his body and not much time left, he just built himself a new body from scratch, utilizing his original body's DNA and his experience in making androids. He then introduces androids 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. He then explains how he has had cameras following Goku for a long time now watching him and his friends so he could truly build an android that can defeat them once and for all. Having witnessed Trunks' original arrival and having had one of his cameras follow them onto their ship, he learned of their plane to prepare and the androids, 17 and 18's disobedience. Gero says he began work on correcting 17 and 18's flaws and preparing more numbers to even the playing field with the increase of allies Goku has gained since the downfall of the Red Ribbon Army. And with that, Gero stabs his head through Yamcha like in the original. This infuriates the Z fighters. Chiaotzu is tasked with getting Yamcha to safety while the others start the fight. Android 9, as you might recall in my previous part, is the main villain in the Dragon Ball movie Sleeping Princess. He starts fighting Krillin, remembering him as stealing his prey launch years ago. Android 10 is Bongo from Curse of the Blood Rubies movie, and he fights Piccolo. Android 11 is Pasta, the female general from Curse of the Blood Rubies, and she fights Tabul, who while they fight, he tries to understand her motivations and convince her to step down. Android 12 is Mercenary Tao, who faces off on what he considers his brother's failed student Tien and seeks revenge for his brother's death. Android 13, 14, and 15 are the same as the movie, and 13 fights Turles, 14 fights Nappa, and 15 fights Shallot. 16 faces off Raditz, 17 fights Vegeta, 18 fights Trunks, 19 fights Gohan, and 20 aka Gero fights Goku. Goku tries to convince the androids to move the fight to a less populated place, however only 13 through 20 take him up on that, and before they even make it to his destination, 13, 14, and 15 start their fights back up in the air, basically leading to 3 separate battle locations. Now Goku struggles in his fight with Gero because the heart virus. 17 and 18 are proving to be the strongest challenge, and Gohan as Yun and smaller struggles fighting 19. Nappa, Turles, Shallot, and Raditz seem to be holding about even at first. The fight really starts to get strange back in the city. At first it looks like the early model androids are not as threatening as Trunks first described, until it looked as if the 4 androids looked like they were about to die. as the Vampire Android 9, Bongo Android 10, and Tau Android 12 neared defeat. Pasta, the 11th android, ignoring Tarbul's requests to give up, betrayed her android partners by executing Jero's emergency plan, and like 13 in the movie, took their cores and absorbed them, becoming Super 11 with the strength of all 4 of them. Quickly defeating Tien and Krillin and pushing Piccolo to Blue and Tabul to Super Saiyan, 13 executed the same, absorbing 14 and 15, becoming Super 13. While fighting Super 11 is the point, Piccolo begins to sense Cell and leaves 11 to Tabul while he goes to investigate. Super 13 strongly pushes Nappa, Shallot, and Turles to Super Saiyan 2 and still holds his own decently. Goku falls to the heart virus, and Gohan pushes to Super Saiyan 2 and destroys 19 and goes to help his dad. 17 and 18 end up getting pushed back, because Krillin and Tien woke up and joined their fights as Tabul seemed to be holding Super 11 better, but as their help pushed 17 and 18 back, 16 also pulls the same, and backstabs them, stealing their robotic cores, becoming Super 16. 20 takes the fallen 19's core and boosts. Piccolo confronts Cell, and leads to him confronting Kami like before, and eventually Kami gives in, leading to another new Piccolo form this time, Red Piccolo, inspired by the dragon of the Black Star Balls. Eventually, before Piccolo gets back, Gohan takes Goku back to his house, while Vegeta, Raditz, and Trunks struggle with Super 16 and Garo. Super 11 ends up absorbing Super 13's cores after he falls to a combined Break Cannon, Wild Cannon, K-Diver attacks, damage him beyond repair, and Krillin, seeing 17 and 18 still alive, rush them to Capsule Corp to try and save them. Garo, 11, and 16 chase after their main goal to end Goku. Most Z fighters by this point are to hurt to continue, and it left to Trunks, Vegeta, and Raditz and Tabul, who managed to push them to the point. 16 takes 11's boosted core right before Red Piccolo arrives. A similar fight like the anime between Piccolo and 17 takes place, but between Super 16 and Red Piccolo. Eventually, Gero himself takes the boosted core from 16, having almost completed his experiment. He reveals that it was his plan to have his androids drain energy and wear the Z fighters out while he takes their energy for himself. Pasta curses him out for backstabbing her after promising her strength. He said he never broke that promise as she had power, albeit temporarily. Tabul, appalled at such sinister actions and seeing a woman hurt, he rages and makes it to Super Saiyan 2 and pushes him back briefly long enough that it gives Cell his opportunity to swoop in. For the first time, Gero looks surprised. He did make a android he dubbed Project Cell, but it was not expected to be ready for years, but here it was facing him down with a smug smile on his face. Cell swallows Gero whole with his tail, and unlike the original with Cell going into an incomplete form, then into perfect. Thanks to Gero creating such a form full of android cores, he instantly goes to a form equivalent to Perfect Cell after he returned after he exploded in the original. This time around, no imperfect Cell to goad Vegeta's ego, so Perfect Cell tells them he wants to test this new body out and proposes the Cell games and gives them time to prepare. Raditz reprimands sick Goku for forgetting the medication and forces him to take it. The plot progresses to the time chamber training. Vegeta and Trunks go together, Goku and Gohan, Nappa and Tabul, Turles and Shallot, Raditz and Piccolo go in together. Just like before, they mostly discover how to sustain efficiently. Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan 2, while Trunks and Vegeta found the Ascended Super Saiyan and Ascended Super Saiyan 2, which prove useless. The Cell games basically go like normal, with finding out this Cell is not only boosted by all the android cores he absorbed, but he is made of all their DNA, as well as Garlic Jr., Cooler, Frieza, and King Cold. The rest of the games play out like the original, but just everyone involved is stronger. He spits out Cell Juniors like original, and when in the plot, Gohan would go Super Saiyan 2 for the first time, he goes 3 instead. The last plot before the Android and Cell sagas end is the movie BoJack Unbound takes place. So after the Cell games, it's shown that 18, grateful to Krillin's kindness for saving her and her brother, falls for him like the original, and Pasta finally sees the light of her greedy ways after Tabul dosed the same for her. For the sake of keeping the martial arts tournament in the Buu Saga special, the tournament in the BoJack movie will be just some lesser tournament held by Roshi. As it's not the World Martial Arts one and mostly people he finds inferior, Vegeta refuses to participate. Dundee becomes the new guardian. As it's a lower grade tournament, not everyone participates, and the ones who do are Nappa, Raditz, Gohan, Krillin, Piccolo, and Tien. The events of the movie still happen mostly as normal, but no magic Goku intervention. Trunks is back in the future, and only the listed characters are really a part of the story. During the fight, Nappa ends up winning over Zangya, who mostly stuck around out of fear, and it's Nappa that saves Gohan, not Goku, from beyond the grave. Super Saiyan 3, Gohan, and Super Saiyan 2. Nappa finished Bojack off, ending the fight. This ends episode 4, covering my attempt to make a timeline fitting in non-canon characters into the main story. In this part, I incorporated concepts from the original Brawly movie, swapping Brawly and his dad with Dr. Lychee. Soba and Cumber from the OVA plan to eradicate the Super Saiyans, Heroes, and the game sagas. I also included the Super Android 13 movie and BoJack Unbound, as well as Tabble from Super's OVA and Charlotte from Legends. All other ads are explained in my previous parts. The first part of why I wanted to include Masako X's Raditz, Nappa, and Turley's What Ifs was for this episode, because I liked the idea of an android facing off against a Saiyan each, knowing I would be eventually incorporating Super 13 movie. The other reason will be coming later, and it will involve why this part Lychee was left alive. So thank you for tuning in on this episode. If you're watching on TikTok, you can find the other episodes and parts in my public collections. On YouTube, I have them all saved in a playlist. So what did you think of my attempt to incorporate the non-canon movies and characters in this part? Let me know in the comments and how you think the next episode will go when we enter the Buu saga. Until next time.
Stay tuned for the next exciting episode of Dragon Balls
All in One.